Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today, man. We got another true crime documentary. Today's true crime documentary we have for y'all today, man, the murders of Don and Antonio Armstrong. And I know you might know about this, you might not. Happened a while ago.
Just let me see. I don't want to,
I only know because I know the faces. But other than that, I don't 100% remember the details.
Okay. I'm a face person, too, so I probably will remember the faces. Oh, sorry.
You don't remember nothing, girl. Hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, all you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals.
Like it with a thumbs up.
What, you forgot?
I don't know.
Let's go. You ready?
I'm ready.
In the summer of 2016, in the city of Bel Air, Texas, a stone's throw from Houston, Don and Antonio Armstrong were both attacked by an unknown assailant. Both of them shot while sleeping in the dead of the night. The couple's son heard the gunfire from elsewhere in the house and made an emergency call, sending responders rushing out to the house. These officers arrived to find that the home security system had not been breached. No one had entered or left the house for hours. The killer must have already been inside. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin and this is Just Thought Lounge. JTL is the true crime channel that delivers serious, well-balanced coverage of the cases that really make you think. This case is truly confounding. An unlikely suspect, a weak motive, both an abundance and notable lack of different physical evidence, and circumstances that seem to prove that sometimes things are not how they may appear. This is the strange case of Antonio Armstrong Jr. Let's take a look. Antonio and Don Armstrong have been described as a couple at the head of what was considered to be an all-American family. In 2016, both were 42 years old. Antonio was a Texan native. He had grown up in Houston. Antonio had studied at Texas A&M under a full scholarship to play football before going on to the NFL, where he was a linebacker for the Miami Dolphins in the mid-1990s. Ankle injuries ended his career before he could get much playing time, but he moved on to play professionally in the CFL, the Canadian Football League, for 6 years. He and his wife Dawn co-owned and ran First Class Training, a gym in Bel Air. Antonio doubled as a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and a general health and fitness advocate.
You to pick back up those visions and those dreams that you once had.
By all accounts, it was a very happy marriage. The couple were parents to 3 children. Josh was the eldest. He was Don's son from a previous relationship. By 2016, Josh was a college student. He had also developed a close relationship with his stepfather and was extremely close to his younger siblings, 16-year-old Antonio Jr., known as AJ, and 12-year-old Kara. AJ was a football player himself and was known as the big man on campus. He and his sister still lived in the family home with their parents. On the evening of the 28th of July, 2016, the Armstrongs retired to bed around 10 p.m. Kara set the home security system that night, securing the family safely inside. They separated to their respective rooms. The master bedroom was located on the second floor, where Don and Antonio slept. Kara was just down the hallway. AJ had a room in the loft on the third floor, one that he had previously shared with his older brother Josh. 3 weeks earlier, however, Josh had moved into his own apartment only a short drive away. For hours that night, the house was quiet. The only activity was 16-year-old AJ awake in his room texting with his girlfriend Kate. The two called it a night at just past 1 a.m. The events of the next hour would change all of their lives forever. At 1:40 a.m., AJ called 911 emergency. He told the dispatcher that he heard gunshots in the house. He then descended to the second floor and noticed that the door to his parents' bedroom was ajar. They never leave it open, even a crack, AJ said. He did not enter the room. Do you require medical assistance? Yes, AJ said. There are several lengthy pauses throughout the call while the dispatcher checked in with updates and information about the responding officers. Much of the call is inaudible. However, AJ was understood to have pondered aloud how someone could have gotten into the house.
Does it sound like a handgun, rifle, or shotgun?
It's hard to hear. Let me see if I turn up a little bit. I'm not good with guns, but I guess like a, I don't know, 15 or something like that. He sound calm as hell though, right? Especially
to be so young and just
you
know
found
what
your
I'm
mom and dad
dad,
deceased
yeah.
the way they were
yeah,
with a gunshot wound.
yeah,
Both
both.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
I'm thinking intruder. I'm thinking go check on my sister.
Yeah.
Panic frenzy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be terrified.
I'm not even
he's still
thinking
in the
about
house.
where daddy keep a gun at.
In another barely distinguishable whisper, in response to the dispatcher, AJ notes a ringing that he has in his ear. Then, 7 minutes into the call, he also made a
Oh boy.
You only have that if you are in close proximity
of the
of a
gunshot.
firearm being shot,
Boy,
being fired
boy.
at the time.
He basically, I don't even know why you would try to insinuate this is when, bro, you just should have called 911 and said, I just killed my parents.
At this, right.
Boy, you said where he keep the gun. I'm not familiar. Like your calmness of your voice. Where's your sister? There's no mention.
You don't know
And you personally brought up the gun. Your dad owning the gun.
Right.
And now the ringing in the ear.
Yep.
Everything points to. Boy, what you done?
another ambiguous
And
statement.
Okay, can you hear anything else that's going on?
Towards the end of the 911 call, AJ entered a code into the ADT keypad on the front door to disable the home security system. The call lasted 16 minutes in total. Then, AJ is heard opening the door. He and Kara walked out to meet law enforcement. Responding officers entered the house and performed a walkthrough to confirm that no individuals were inside aside from Don and Antonio. This was verified within minutes. Emergency medical teams found Antonio Sr. in bed, clinging to life with a slight pulse, and immediately rushed him out for further care. He had been shot with a single bullet in the head. Dawn, in bed beside her husband, was sadly declared dead at the scene. The mother of three had received 2 gunshots behind her ear. Both had been asleep when the killer attacked. When the couple was found, each had a pillow resting over their heads. Walking through the kitchen, responding officers noticed drawers hanging open haphazardly, though nothing appeared disturbed within them, nor...
Boy, see, because you writing.
I'm sorry, I was writing the
No.
details.
No, look at the drawers.
Drawers hanging open haphazardly, though nothing appeared disturbed within them.
Just open, just like, let me go, open, make it seem like...
Boy,
wow.
dumb. Just dumb, see.
No reason.
That's all I can call it, is just dumb.
No reason at all.
Nor were any items found to be missing. From one of these drawers, a notepad and a pen had been retrieved and left sitting out on the kitchen counter. On the note, someone had roughly scrawled, "I've been watching you for some time. Get me?" The writer had gone over each capitalized letter a few times, as though to conceal the handwriting. Also on the counter was a gun, later to be confirmed as Antonio Sr.'s own handgun, a .22 caliber pistol, and the murder weapon. He was known to have kept the gun in the drawer of his bedside table, just as AJ had recalled when speaking with 911 dispatch. Investigators determined that the gun had been retrieved next to Antonio while he slept. The evidence indicated
How would y'all been able to indicate that, though?
I guess because that's where he keep it in his.
Or it was the drawer.
Or was it open?
Open, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's 16, he's so young, and dumb. He done did a lot of shit that just don't even make sense.
Nope.
Don had been shot first, twice, and very closely together. Then the shooter turned to Antonio, perhaps, they thought, because the initial 2 shots had caused him to awake, prompting the killer to shoot Antonio Sr. as well. The initial assessment of the scene yielded an obvious suspect. The home security system had sensors on every external door as well as motion detectors to catch movement inside. None of the door sensors had been triggered. All windows were locked with their screens still secured. It would have been impossible for the killer to go out through a window. There was no sign of forced entry. 2 family members had been shot using a gun that had already been inside the house, and that remained inside the house when law enforcement arrived, not carried away by the killer. 2 individuals walked out. 12-year-old Kara, who had just been awoken by her brother as recorded while he spoke to the 911 dispatcher. That left only 16-year-old Antonio Jr. AJ was handcuffed and placed in the back of a police cruiser. In the early morning hours, AJ was questioned by investigators from the Houston Police Department. HPD officers remarked that AJ appeared emotionless throughout this period. They did not see him shed a tear over the loss of his mother. His father was in critical care, fighting for his life. HPD felt certain that, given the circumstances, AJ must have been the shooter. They began to piece together the context and their case by asking AJ to explain his relationship with his parents. The interview audio was recorded, but not captured on video.
You get along with your mom, get along with dad, no problems, no issues.
Yeah, like really close. And then me and my mom, me, my brother, and my sister, had our, little issues with my mom, but it was never anything, serious,
Investigators asked specifically about AJ's older brother, Josh, who had arrived at the crime scene shortly after law enforcement. In the chaos of the night, AJ had also found time to call his brother Josh. He told his brother that their parents had been shot. Josh was at the house moments later because he lived just down the street.
Now, you have an older brother that doesn't live there?
No, he's not. He just moved. He was going to Blinn, and he just moved back 3 weeks ago. He's going to the Art Institute now, and he lives in those apartments
He's here so calmly. He's giving details.
Yeah, he's too calm for me, Chuck.
He's not erratic.
If I know I haven't done anything, and my parent, my mom is deceased, my dad fighting for his life.
First of all, you wouldn't even also mention about him going to college.
Bro, I don't care about that. That ain't on my mind.
They would have asked in the question, the way you answered that, if something's going on, be like, no, he doesn't live. He lives down the street. Point blank, period.
Just short and sweet, because I'm my mind all over the place.
My mind ain't even think about that. He don't live with us. He live down the street. At least live down the street. You might not even give that detail. You might be like, no, he no longer live with us.
Yeah.
How long? Then if they pry more questions, you give more detail. But you're not offering detail.
But
like
no
he's
emotion.
Going to
it's just nothing. It's just too calm. Emotions. It's your mom and dad, bro.
It's your mom
and you're
and
16.
Dad. And you're 16.
No.
Crazy.
Our house is here, and when you come out and make that left on Maple Ridge, he lives in those apartment complexes right there.
Oh, he giving details.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Now, how is his relationship with everybody in the family?
He's really, me, him, and my dad are, a really close group. We sit down and talk a lot. And then him and my mom are, identical people. Their personalities are the same, so they're close. And then me and him are just, have a really close brother relationship. And then my little sister, loves him.
While AJ was questioned, the crime scene was being processed. There were no usable fingerprints found in the house. Nothing was found on the gun, nor on the note and pen left out in the kitchen. There were shell casings found in the master bedroom, but also in AJ's bedroom. AJ was asked about what he knew about his father's gun.
Do you know what kind of gun it is?
I just know it's like a pistol. I think it's a 22, but I'm not like 100% positive. Like only time I've ever like used it was when we went to the gun range when I was like 8 years old or something like that. But like that's about it. And I know he has his case in one of his drawers. And like my dad, his drawers, the closet, and under the bed is like off limits. So I've never gone in there or like seen it or anything like that, except for when he brings it out. So like I don't know where he was keeping the gun at the time, but I know he keeps it on one of those 3 places.
I done heard enough. Charge him as an adult, lock his ass up, he gets life. Well, it can't get life now.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's 16, but fuck it. Charge him as an adult, get his ass life, 25 to life. I don't need nothing else. I know who the killer is. What? And I guess, well, hold on, we need motive. Because you need to argue motive in a court.
Yeah.
Searching through the master bedroom, investigators noticed a bullet hole in the ceiling originating from AJ's 3rd floor bedroom. They locate the entry hole in the teenager's room, concealed only by a pile of socks. When pressed by the HPD on this point, AJ admits to having fired the gun. He showed it off to a friend weeks earlier and had fired it at that time. Police then found bullet holes in a pillow and blanket in AJ's closet.
It was like 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Like me and one of my friends was just like playing around, and they were about to leave, and he was like, "Hey, well, not really he. It was like me. I was like, "Hey, like, have you ever tried that before?" And they were like, "Nah, I've never done it." And I was like, "You want me to show you how to?" And like, I like went and checked the 3 places, and the gun was on my dad's bed, and I like laid the pillow. I laid my pillow, and then like a blanket over it, a blanket under it, thinking like that would stop it, but I guess it did not stop it. Yeah.
Police did not buy into AJ's timeline. Investigators say materials from the ceiling were visible on the floor of the master bedroom. This indicated that the bullet could not have been fired weeks earlier. If that was the case, surely someone would have noticed.
You're explaining the way around that you shot to the floor 2 or 3 weeks ago when we've got fresh sheetrock on the ground and we've got a round still laying on the ground. I mean, your parents use that room constantly. They're going to notice. If your dad's going to notice and he's lying on the carpet, he's going to notice.
That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense, because it wasn't in this past. I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the past week. If it wasn't this week, then it was last week.
The bullet hole was not the only suspicious anomaly identified inside the house. On the 2nd floor landing, police identified an area of carpet that appeared to have been recently burnt. It was not a large marking. The burn mark seemed to have been made from a single match that was stifled without catching a flame. The area around the burn mark smelt strongly of gasoline.
Was the carpet burnt?
That was Tuesday.
What the fuck is that song?
Right?
Did you spill anything on the floor before?
No, I didn't spill anything on the floor. That's the thing that was like confusing to me. I didn't spill anything on the floor.
What's the bottle of rubbing alcohol that's empty in your bedroom? I don't know. I'm just asking because the other investigator that's out there says that the floor out there smells like except.
Oh, this little motherfucker.
That's what I'm like, were you trying to set the house on fire?
This little motherfucker crazy. he a crazy little motherfucker.
And then you already lied because you said that you know that your dad keeps the gun in like one of those 3 places, but it's off limits and you don't go in there, you don't touch it, you don't bother.
Also,
but
you lied. You
said
said
friends.
Also, you lied. You said when you went and looked for it for your friends, it was underneath the bed.
You know what I'm saying?
But you said Dad normally keeps it in his drawer.
I looked in like.
Also, if you had shot the gun 2 or 3 weeks ago, the gun would not be as easily accessible now. Think about it. If you accidentally, because now we'll know a hole in my fucking ceiling.
Right,
I'm gonna confront you about that shit.
I'm like, dang, I'm gonna really have to lock it up somewhere from you.
Really?
Because you're gonna notice that.
Or mom would have said, you got to get this gun up out the house.
Right, or something.
Which is like sometimes.
Yeah, like that, something like that. Yeah, right. That's what me and my dad, when like it happened, we both said that it like smelled like gas somewhere, and we didn't know where it was coming from.
trying
Investigators
to come up with
speculated
lies
that in the
fast,
days
but
before the
that don't
murders,
make sense.
AJ had been attempting to set fire to the second-floor landing, just at the entrance of the stairs, which would block access out of the house to anyone in the rooms on that floor. They also believed that the bullet-holed pillow and blanket were evidence of a test run of the shooting.
Yeah.
This test would gauge how noisy the gun was. Could the shots be heard from Kara's room loud enough to wake her, for example? Antonio Sr. passed away in hospital. His son stood accused of 2 counts of capital murder and was released on a $200,000 bond. AJ's motive remained...
Who put up $200,000 for this little motherfucker to come out?
Maybe a grandparent or...
I wouldn't.
I doubt. Well, I don't know if
Was
the
you?
brother or not.
I doubt the brother unless they got
Yeah,
insurance.
let's-
I ain't finna waste fucking insurance
No,
money
I'm
on
not-
y'all.
Not on...
Because I'm sure parents had nice insurance money, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they were well nice established. They got 3 kids.
Yeah, I do wonder. I wonder as well.
Who the fuck? Because I understand he's $200,000 bond is just $20,000, but $20,000 is a lot of money.
Still.
And I'm not finna waste that because you don't get that back. It's gone. On this little fucker? Shit.
murder and was released on a $200,000 bond. AJ's motive remained murky at best, but if the alarm system was to be trusted, the case against him appeared, at least on the surface, to be a slam dunk. But was it? There were issues with the physical evidence. If AJ had been the shooter that night, there was nothing more than this circumstantial evidence linking him to the gun. AJ did not have gunpowder residue anywhere on him, his hands, arms, or clothing. There was no blood spatter either. None of his parents' blood was on AJ's person or caught in his hair. Bloodied clothing was not found anywhere in the house. Had the 16-year-old been savvy enough to thoroughly clean himself and the scene, there were no indications left of any cleaning products in any sinks, showers, or drains. DNA was found on the notepad and on the gun. This DNA matched to the Armstrong family, but could not be isolated to a single individual. This was also the case with DNA extracted from elsewhere in the house. The teenager had lied to police about playing around with his father's gun to impress a friend. He blamed his younger sister for the mess on the stairway, but he insisted that someone had entered the house that night, and he claimed to have seen that person, a man, running away from him and wearing a mask.
That's when I came down and I like,
Nigga, why I'm running away from you if I just went up and killed some mama and I'm gonna take you out? Because especially the notes that have been watching you, right?
And how he running away? Because how did he get in the house? Y'all have all these alarm systems. Nothing was set off.
So that means somebody would have had to
And
type
you
in
put
the
a
alarm.
Cody in to when you called
What you
911
trying to
to
say?
let the
Insinuate his
police
brother
in.
did it?
I have no clue, but that
But- But also, if I just killed, if I write on a note that I have been watching you, that means I already know your family movement, right? I know there's you, your wife, your sons, and your daughter. So I know how many kids you got and all that.
right.
If I break into your house and gain access into your home to be able to commit this murder, won't you think I know your son is if that's your son, I'm gonna kill him too. I'm gonna take him out. Cause then I know he's a kid. And he can't do nothing to me. I'm not running away from you. I'm gonna kill you. I got the gun. While I'm running away from you, I'm gonna just drop the gun on the countertop.
On the counter, place it. It ain't even just dropped on the floor somewhere. It's like place right beside the note. Like no,
Nothing
who
make,
doing that?
None of that shit makes sense, bro.
Like, and I get that he didn't have gunpowder residue.
Coulda
I don't
had-
know. He could have wore some over his hands.
Coulda had-
I understand he didn't have blood or gunpowder residue on his clothes.
Could have had a hoodie on. How long did it take him to call 911 right after the shooting?
Like I mean, I hear and I understand all that, but just something's not adding up. And I need more details, but something's not adding up to me. But yeah.
kind of looked, because you know how like it has the little, it goes down, like you can peep real quick and see like what's like going on from my stairs. And like I saw someone like coming out, so I just took off back upstairs and went straight to my closet, and that's when I called.
Wait, did you physically see somebody?
No, like, I saw him running. Like I saw him running. I mean,
is it he or she? Or?
It was definitely a guy. It wasn't a girl. There wasn't like long hair or anything like that. I mean, they had it was like a mask, and like you could only see the eyes and the mouth. But he looked like a black guy. But I'm not like 100% positive. But I'm pretty sure it was an African American, and like I'd say like 6 feet maybe.
So how are you feeling right now? Can you talk to us about how you're
Oh, it's a 6-foot black male.
If convicted, AJ Armstrong faced an automatic life sentence without the chance of parole for at least 40 years. AJ's family stood firmly behind him while his defense attorneys prepared to defend the teenager at trial.
We was fans.
We know him.
We know our
That's
grandson.
the thing. We know our grandson.
Yes.
We know what he's capable of doing.
Yes.
And what he's not capable of doing.
No.
We don't know.
You don't know
what
no.
one's capable of doing. Just like
What's my favorite saying? See,
I don't know. Say it.
one of my favorite sayings. How can you tell a murderer?
Oh.
No one knows what a murderer looks like until they commit murder.
Like that's like me saying I want to wholeheartedly believe, like, say for instance my brother is my heart, but I'll be like,
He ain't capable of committing
he
murder.
ain't capable of ever doing nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. You don't never know what type of like mental state someone may be in or end up in, or what's on their mind, or what they going through, or what triggers them, what buttons maybe, whatever. Like, I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But I could sit here and say now, like, yeah, he's not capable of doing that until he actually does it.
5 years ago, you wanted to expect your nephew to be in predicament.
Like my nephew, I would have never expected my nephew to be in the situation he in. Like,
that ain't him. He got his mama and daddy in the household with him. They involved with his life, but just the choices he made.
You know what I'm saying? So you just never know what people are capable of. You never know what someone do. I'm like, man, I remember my baby when he was a little baby. I would never think that little face would be capable of doing anything like that. You know, anything.
Yeah.
But you don't know what people capable of.
Man, 5 years ago, little motherfuckers wanted to be a little country boy. Now he want to be a little thug. You like, what the fuck? Flip of a switch of a summer.
What you said?
That fast, just a summertime, and it's just like, oh shit, you went from wearing mozios to wearing colors.
But
it's true though.
But definitely, like, yeah, I mean, I get y'all are his
That's
grandparents,
crazy.
and y'all are like, we know our grandson. We done watched him grow up and whatever, and these are his parents. I get that, but I'm just the type of person, I'm never going to rule anything out. But
Or put anything past anyone. Because anybody's capable of doing anything.
Yeah.
It's human will.
Yeah, we know that he's not capable of murdering his mother and his father.
There was somebody else in the house that night, and to know that this is something I'm being accused of just makes everything so much worse.
Now you want to cry? You want to cry because you know your life is in... Man, see.
Dealing with not having my parents anymore.
You ain't crying about your parents. You crying about
the fact that I'm being accused
jail.
of something of this magnitude. And
you can't get away with it.
Before the case saw a jury, a woman named Maxine Adams, a friend of the Armstrongs, came forward offering an alternative theory of the crime. Maxine claimed that Antonio Sr. had been involved in a prostitution ring. Maxine's husband had also been involved. They had, by extension, become connected with some shady associates and had even received...
I hate people like this, weird ass motherfuckers. Man, shut the fuck up. People like this irritates the fuck out of me. We want to insert themselves into some shit, you know?
Death threats. AJ's defense, headed by attorney Rick Titoto, claimed this information had been withheld by the state and pushed for an outright dismissal of the charges against AJ. In Maxine's interview with police, she backed up her claims. To the family, this came as a shock, but also a potential explanation for the murders that did not involve young AJ.
Full details
names, phone numbers, people involved, how it worked.
The woman said that my son was receiving threatening phone calls. He's dead. You mean to tell me that wasn't enough for you to start investigating? It's painful, but I want to know truth and I want my grandson free.
Do y'all really want the truth, or do you prefer to have your grandsons free? That's my biggest question for the family. Do y'all really want to know what happened, or y'all don't care as long as he's set free? Also, I don't want somebody to come up here and talk about some prostitution ring. If that shit ain't true, and you trying to put that on my deceased relative, you know?
But yeah,
who knows, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but you do have to understand the court. Like, if stuff come out, they gotta look at everything. So you can't just like, okay, this looking at it like this just makes sense to one. You have to look at everything when stuff comes up and rule it out. If it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, whatever the case may be. But yeah.
It's true.
The Armstrong's gym first-class training was broken into just after the murders. A link between this break-in and the murders was not made. The HPD found Maxine Adams' claims to be unsubstantiated. But with these rumors and curious activities playing out in the months after the killings, Rick DeToto told the media that it was clear that the state did not want the public to know what was really happening. The motion to have the case dismissed nonetheless failed. AJ was 19 years old when he went on trial in the spring of 2019.
Within 11 minutes of going into that house, before any evidence was processed, before they knew anything about the crime scene, as far as forensics, before anything, they made up their mind, he did it.
In a surprise move, the defense introduced yet another theory of the crime when they pointed the finger at a new suspect, Josh Armstrong, AJ and Kara's older half-brother.
I knew they were going to do that. I knew he was going to... Man... Who all has the code to the
That's what I'm about to
alarm?
say. It will only and looking at it, just looking at what's been given to me, just looking at the information that's been given to me, I'm like, it has to be someone that has a key and know how to disarm, put in the code for the alarm. Like,
But
other than
also,
that,
it doesn't make sense for it to be him.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he would have laid the gun there.
Like, but
if I'm gonna go commit the murder, if I'm Joshua, him, I'm gonna have an outside gun. I'm not gonna have a gun that's directly
right.
Because then I would have to go in the home, retrieve the gun, so I have to make little to no noise of coming in the house. Have you ever had an alarm in your home?
No.
I have. I grew up with one.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you open the door with the fucking key, the alarm goes to fuck off. As a kid, we had ADT.
Yeah.
The alarm goes off. You gotta boop, 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 boop.
So
and then say choo choo, or depending on whatever
you got. Yeah. So
they would have woke up.
Who would have woke up?
The parents.
Yeah, possibly.
Because now the alarm going off, even if you put the code in, I know the alarm has went off. It is loud enough for wake me up. At least one of them would have woke up. Tried to see what's going on. You would not have been able to put in the code, go up, walk up to the second floor, open the door, go in his dresser, get the gun out of his dresser, shoot both of them point blank in the head. Mom twice. She was killed first. Then you have to go and kill and it's too much.
And shoot the dad. And then the sister sleep. But the only person that's up that would have heard if someone else came in.
I also would have heard the alarm go off.
He would have heard the AJ because you're the only one that's up. You up texting your girlfriend, so you already up.
And you would have heard if somebody had broke into the house.
You know what I'm saying? So
What
I'm just like,
also, what conversation was you having with your girlfriend?
so also with that, I'm just kind of like, no forced entry, no windows broken, everything screens are on, everything is intact. Like it's just, I don't know.
The only other option, like I said, was somebody literally come through the front door. But again, I do know all alarm systems are different.
Are different, yeah.
But no, especially if somebody's running out the house, they also would have set the alarm off because you have to put in the code, and then it gives you a countdown of when you can actually get the fuck up out the house.
No, excuse
You
me.
have to, like, a lot of times you put it with ADT and stuff like that. You have to put in the code before you leave to set it, and they give you like a 15 seconds, and then when you lock the door. Like, what are we talking
Well, we'll
about?
see how are they going.
There's no way AJ or anybody or his sister did not commit the crime. You don't leave out the house and the code. Now I got, you know.
Josh is the son of Don and stepson to Antonio Sr. In the years following the murders, Josh had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and he began to receive treatment. He had reported paranoid episodes and violent thoughts.
For the past 3 years, he's been in and out of a psychiatric facility. You're going to hear evidence that he's
crazy,
suicidal. You're going to hear evidence that he's homicidal. You're going to hear evidence that he's catatonic. You're going to hear evidence that he has a woman in his head that he's trying to kill.
Jurors heard from Hannah Pylon, Josh's ex-girlfriend, who had been living with him at the time of the murders. She was asleep when the shooting had taken place. Josh was at home when she awoke, but she was unable to verify his whereabouts for the hours earlier. She assumed he had been sleeping next to her. Hannah testified that she awoke when Josh received the phone call from AJ. There was someone in his parents' house, he told her, as he headed for a shotgun, then straight out the door. She also testified that Josh spiraled after his parents' death. He heard voices in his head. He became paranoid, depressed, and obsessed with the murders. Josh then checked himself into the hospital for psychiatric treatment.
So was he diagnosed prior or was he diagnosed afterwards? Because you gotta realize this trial happened 3 years later. You can build up that he has these medical records, but if he hasn't had any like 100% medical treatment prior
To their death.
prior to their death, because a lot of people, like, death affects everyone differently. A lot of people are sending them down an emotional, like, you know what I'm saying? This emotional, like, heal that it's so hard for them to overcome. Because, like you even said, like, one of your cousins still deal with the death of your grandma very hard. And it's sometimes so hard for them to overcome. And that's your parents.
Right.
Dealing with it like that. You still, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all still deal with the death of a loved one. Like, it hit. Some days are good, some days are bad. But it's your direct of your parents in a manner. Right. Also, you got to think about it. He might even experience guilt because in his head, he might be like, I just moved out 3 weeks.
3 weeks ago.
If I had just stayed a month and moved out a month later, they'll still be alive. Or I could have protected them. Or I could have, you know what I'm saying? So you got to think about it. Some people deal with and create these crazy scenarios in their head, trying to kind of say, hey, I could have prevented this. It made some people go crazy. I wonder, can I even use them, health records for situations like this?
I mean, I guess sometimes I guess they can, but then you'll just have to match the dates up. Like if the date's not making sense, then what are we talking about it for? You
and I'd be damned if I know I committed a crime.
Like, yeah, my mental health is poor now. I lost my parents, so yeah, cool, whatever. Say whatever you want, but prior to that, if that's not the case, then what are we talking about it for? Why are we bringing it up? Also, I don't know, but that is a good question.
Also, you a fucked up individual for even allowing your attorney to point the blame at your brother. You fucked up.
With the murders. Josh then checked himself into the hospital for psychiatric treatment. Kara Armstrong, now a teenager herself, took the stand as a character witness for her brother and to discuss the family dynamic. She told the jury that Josh had been the black sheep of the family, that he perceived that his parents loved the other two children more than him, and that his demeanor had completely changed for the worse just after returning from college. Kara also gave testimony addressing the key piece of evidence against AJ, the security system. It was finicky, she said. Kara recounted how the system often misfired. The sensors did not always work. In particular, the door sensors would fail to signal when the external doors were opened. She had explained this to investigators on the night her parents were killed. The defense aimed to prove that the alarm system reports showing no doors had been opened in the home for hours prior to law enforcement arriving on the scene were complete nonsense.
Those records are not worth the paper they're written on.
I was just about to say real quick, I feel like if that is the case, because I don't know the dynamic of their relationship, how things were, but I also feel like AJ would have brought that up when he was asked. He said that him, his brother, dad, they're super close. They sit down, they have these talks. Like Kara, she loves him. She was like the mom and him they have the same personality. They are super close. Like, I feel like that would have been brought up if he was the black sheep of the family.
And he also said that their father is now like a father figure for Josh. Who has custody of the kids? Which side of the family has custody of the kids now?
Oh.
Their family can paint the picture of Joshua being, because that's not blood.
No relation.
That's still his mom.
And not ruling out that the alarm system or the whatever may be faulty.
But if that's the case,
I don't know that.
If that's the case, if we can indicate that, then if we're going to go that route, ADT should have had to come out and test their system. And
actually see if there is an issue with it.
And if there is an issue, that's a wrongful death lawsuit. You can sue them for that. And because of the faultiness of it failed to protect what it was supposed to protect.
What it's meant to do. And like I always say, I don't rule anyone out until if you implemented someone, so now y'all implementing Josh to possibly being the trigger man, then I need all the evidence to either say he was or rule him out.
Also, that night, I'd say y'all should have possibly had ran ballistic testing on him as well.
But y'all not looking at him as a suspect because he wasn't on the scene at the time.
Well, I think he arrived to the scene before the cops did.
Okay.
Because he called him first and told him then call.
Okay.
There was at least 77 different arrows in those.
But I feel like the reason why they didn't look at Josh is because while on the phone with the dispatch, they can hear him putting in the code, the ADT code.
Yeah.
So because he would have had to put in the ADT code before he unlocks the door to let the authorities in.
Right.
So right now, because of that, only the killer would have to still be in the house. That's the reason why they did a house. Also had to do a house sweep.
Yeah.
There's no killer in the house. Only people that's inside the home that's still alive is him and his sister.
Right.
So it's looking like one of y'all two.
Yeah.
The paper they're written on. There was at least 77 different arrows in those alarm records. Those alarm records are absolutely useless. And the whole state's theory that the house is closed and no one can get into it is nonsense.
To this point, the motive attributed to AJ for the murders remained murky. The state sought to show a growing tension between the teenager and his parents. Prosecutor John Jordan presented a series of text messages.
Also, were they able to 100% validate the house fire thing, where somebody tried to light the carpet on fire? He blamed his sister. Did the sister really do that? Because now, if you're willing to blame your sister, but you knew you did it, I can see you blaming the brother for the murder when you did it. You get what I'm saying?
And his parents. Prosecutor John Jordan presented a series of text messages sent amongst AJ and his parents. Prosecutors showed the jury that Don and Antonio Sr. sent several texts to AJ, calling him a liar, expressing anger that he was smoking in the house, letting his grades slip, and disobeying their rules. To her husband, Don wrote, "AJ is starting to lie. I am so disappointed. He doesn't care about anything. He is a bold-faced liar like I have never seen before." AJ had been kicked out of school due to failing grades. He had broken curfew, been irresponsible with his car, and not taking responsibility. 8 weeks before the murders, AJ wrote to his parents, "I'm not even going to try to say sorry for everything because right now I know it doesn't mean anything to you guys. I know I need a major life change right now." His mother responded, "We gave you all and the best we had. We wanted the best for you. We provided the best education, bought you a great car to celebrate you. We tried to be open with you and what was important to you, and all you do is lie to us, scheme behind our backs, chose to piss on all we tried to do. Beyond disappointed. I will never understand why you are a liar and do not work hard in school. You don't want to be right or do good. I am so heartbroken, but it is what it is." Although some exchanges showed a growing tension between the Armstrongs and their teenage son, others showed the opposite. On occasion, Don and Antonio offered praise to AJ for his efforts. His attorneys argued that his messaging history is not one of a homicidal son, just a regular teenager, flirting with his girlfriend, misbehaving, and having disagreements with his parents.
90 minutes before this happened, he's in bed flirting with his girlfriend, talking about how I love you, how I want to get married. I mean, that's totally inconsistent with someone who's angry, suicidal, homicidal.
The jury heard over 39 hours of testimony. At times, the proceedings were emotional. AJ's former football coach, who was a close friend of Antonio Sr., broke down on the stand while speaking of his affection towards both father and son. AJ himself collapsed with his head in his hands while the court was shown autopsy photos of his parents. AJ did not take the stand in his own defense. Jurors deliberated for over 19 hours over the fate of Antonio Armstrong Jr. Over 3 days while they deliberated, the jury passed multiple notes to the judge, stating that they were hopelessly deadlocked.
It is improbable the jury can reach a verdict. And accordingly, because of that, the court declares a mistrial.
Damn.
The state did not drop their case against AJ Armstrong after the mistrial. They issued a statement almost immediately of their intention to retry the case.
Did you kill your parents?
No.
I hate when they ask questions like this, because y'all act like this motherfucker at this point gonna say, yeah, I did this shit. Even if he gets found innocent, you ask him that question, you act like he gonna be like, shit, y'all can't tell.
I think some people ask the question because they're trying to see the demeanor of the person when they answer the question.
True.
Like, do you take a long pause?
Or do you smirk?
Do you smirk? Or are there any emotions? Like, what's the tone, the undertone? Like I think that's why.
But he's probably been asked this question so much that he's numb to it, where he give you a numb like, no.
And honestly, I know some good ass liars that they will literally look at you in your face and lie to you, and you will never know. You will never know unless you just absolutely know that person. And still, some people still will just. It's crazy.
You think he's? Well, you say you need more info.
Do I think what?
I do see a motive, because he is starting to lash out. He's starting to be unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you did shoot the gun off in a room, that screams alarming. Like in the bedroom, that screams alarming. Even like with the bullet hole, like even that with the bullet hole being in a coming from your into their room. The casing is still in their bedroom.
Yeah.
With the ceiling
Yeah.
Still
And
a
not
residue.
even just that. What's also alarming to me is the fact that the pillow with the blanket and all of that was found in a room with the hole that you said that you was trying to show your friends and stuff of that nature. And also when they found your parents, a pillow was over, I don't know if it was over both or one. I didn't get I don't remember those details. But I think that's kind of like, I don't think that's a coincidence. But go ahead, my bad.
No, you good.
Ever. Being in this situation and just that being a constant reminder that someone would even think that it's something that I would do. Like, it's just, like, it hurts. It's frustrating.
The second trial was delayed due to the pandemic and would not commence until 2022. By that time, AJ was 23 years old and had become a father himself. His son, Hendrix, was also given the second name Antonio after both his father and the grandfather that he would never know. His girlfriend, Kate, had stood by him since 2016 and would again take the stand to testify in his defense. There were changes this time around. The security video of the burglars breaking into the Armstrongs' gym after the murders was excluded from evidence. However, AJ's defense had gained support of their theory that it was the other son, Josh Armstrong, that was the shooter. Medical records from the elder son had been obtained and presented to the jury. The records showed that Josh had claimed to have witnessed his parents' murders. His own words placed him in the room that night. To the defense, this was tantamount to a confession. But the prosecution interpreted these statements as nothing more than a symptom of his mental illness.
There were no signs to anyone of mental illness before these murders.
And that's what I wanted to know. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
No. That's the biggest key. Like, yeah, he has a mental disorder now.
Yeah.
But that's a traumatic event.
So you losing both your parents.
And even though Antonio was his biological father, it's still apparent to him.
Right.
Because how long has he been in his life? Because them kids he don't look like that much older than AJ.
Well, you losing your mom and a father figure.
No, I'm just saying he don't look at that. So at the end of the day, that's still his father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if he was in like AJ even told y'all, he was going to college. Mm-hmm. He left from going there, and he moved back home, and he was going to go to the Art Institute. It never showed a pattern or anything of he had like AJ would have mentioned his medical issues of, hey, he had to leave college because he was dealing with his prior medical situation, and mom and dad really want to, you would have brought that up because those are things that would have attributed to him not being in the home.
Yeah.
Nothing shows indication of Josh prior to the murders
having any mental illness
or any reason, motive. Not a true motive.
That we know of. Right?
That we know of at this point. We almost 30 minutes in. There's no motive that points to Joshua.
Was it your... Yeah, we don't know. I don't know what y'all try to roll. Like, because I understand.
There are motives that shows connects AJ. There are motives.
Yeah.
In their interpretation, the murders had served as the trigger for Josh's schizophrenia. He had not been severely mentally ill prior to July 2016. And there was no way these murders were the act of an individual under psychosis. Much of the focus in both trials was placed on the timeline, as pieced together by phone records and the hotly disputed security system reports.
Also, he spoke too highly of his brother. Mm-hmm. You spoke too highly of him.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking highly of mine.
And you said you seen the person run away, right? I know how my brother runs. I've watched my brother run his entire life because he played sports. He did this, that.
You would know if it's your sister.
I would know my sister. I know her build. I know my brother's build. I know his height. Like, I know all of that. I know how he runs. I know how he walks. Like, if I just see him, if I didn't even see the person in the front and I just seen them, like, I'm like,
and I'll also say this about the break-in.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it was reported all over the place. They have an establishment. Y'all would associate the establishments, the owners of such and such gym was.
Yeah.
a lot of people take that as an opportunity to go rob them, see if they got anything in there that's value of taking.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
It's a high
Yeah,
chance
it's a high
possibility.
chance.
Like that robbery probably has nothing to do with this. The
And
two don't even.
And I would like to know, because I didn't get any clarification on this, when AJ said that the person had a mask on and he could just see their eyes. But did you see them from the front, or did you just see them from the back running away?
Ooh,
like, because you did say you seen them running away, but then you said, well, the person had on a mask. I know it was an African American, and he about 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So, at what point did you see the person?
Cooking.
I know my brother's eyes. Like, if you see
the
person's eyes, I know.
And
you know
it wasn't.
what I'm saying?
And it wasn't a girl.
It wasn't a girl. It was a guy. It was a black guy, African American guy, 6 feet. Like, if you seen his eyes, you're like, those look.
But also, that's just the average dynamic of blind men. It was a tall black man.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
As pieced together by phone records and the hotly disputed security system reports. The alarm had been set at 9:52 p.m. by Kara. That was an undisputed fact. AJ was active on his cell phone, primarily texting with Kate, until 1:02 a.m., at which point it was placed on a charger, likely in his third-floor bedroom. The phone was lifted from its charger at 1:08 a.m., but not unlocked for use. 1 minute later, the motion detector on the second floor was activated. The phone screen was turned on and off over the next several minutes, giving off ambient light. Perhaps to navigate the dark house, argued the prosecution. Don and Antonio were shot with Antonio's gun between this time and the 911 call placed at 1:40 a.m.
Ooh, because he said, ooh.
Because he said what?
He's up at, like, they could tell the phone was taken off the charge at 1:08, right? Also, that's when the ADT can detect motion sensors.
Motion, because they have it all around.
Yeah,
the house.
so you got motion sensors going off. There's movement in the house around this time. If somebody broke in, you was up. You would have heard somebody break in. Now, also, your phone is cutting on and off. That's how we can also indicate that you're woke.
You're woke and you're walking through the house.
Well, we can't 100% fact that you.
Okay,
but we do know we do know you're awake. The gunshot happened between 1:08 and 1:40 something. Plenty enough time to commit the murders and cover up in any kind of way you want to. That's 30 minutes. Does it take 30 minutes to kill two people? But it could take 30 minutes to clean up any evidence, remove a glove if you have it. You know what? He stopped texting his girl, 1:02?
Yeah, 1:02.
From there, you could have put your hoodie on, put your gloves on, got prepared. You never know.
I guess my only other thing would be, like, if that's the case, because like I said, I'm not ruling anything out, but where did you put those clothes at? Because the clothes that you had on when the authorities got there didn't have any gunpowder residue, didn't have any blood splat, like nothing.
True.
You didn't have it on your hands, which, like I said, you could have wore some gloves, but that wasn't.
But did they check every piece of clothing in the house?
In the house, every area, an attic, a vent, anything.
We saw yesterday. You got to check.
You got to check every corner, every little piece of crack. Check it, like even. Which is crazy. Even if he got an glove, because I could go back downstairs, put that back in the kitchen. You got to do residue check on that. Because you just never know. Yeah. I would have had to do gunpowder residue check on every ounce. I guess that's like the only
material.
Other thing, and the question that I have is, if there was nothing found on him, like on his hands and clothes, where are those?
But if I shoot you with a pillow that's also wrapped in a cover, that blood splatter might get caught, not come back on me all the way. If I'm close range, boom, with it.
And then also on the 911 call, he said his ears was ringing. Me personally, dealing with people and working at a hearing facility,
you did.
like, I know that like one woman, she became deaf because she was in the line of duty and her partner shot a gun and right by, her ear or whatever the case may be, like in close proximity, and the ringing in the ear, the ringing in the ear and stuff like that. So with him making that statement, I'm like, why would you say that? Like, because if you was in your room with somebody, that's not gonna cause you to have. You have to have been right there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of thrown for that as well. But we'll see how. We'll see.
And he low-key do got gun handling experience. He done lied too many damn times. But did admit that he had shot the gun before.
Yeah.
The only period of time all day that AJ was not active on his cell phone. During that period at 1:25 a.m., the living room motion sensor was activated. It is assumed that this is when the note and gun were left in the kitchen. Between this time and the 911 call, the prosecution speculated AJ was cleaning up the scene and himself. The front door sensor was activated at 1:57 a.m. when AJ disarmed the system to allow law enforcement to enter. Then, as though to prove the accuracy of the sensors, 2 minutes later, the system report also showed the kitchen door opening, exactly in line with when responding officers performed a check of the property. The security system expert called by the prosecution, a man named Tim Rader from the home security company ADT, faced an intense cross-examination by Rick DeToto. The defense team had found what they deemed to be 77 distinct errors in the security report for the house in the month of July 2016 alone. In the period from June to July of the same year, they identified over 120 failures in the system detecting movements, the majority of which they said related to the opening and closing of external doors.
We know what this is. This is a garbage can.
Where you belong.
The alarm records are that. Garbage. They are garbage.
Don't throw yourself in there too.
They further pointed to statements from Kara and others that the garage door would not always completely close. The security panel by this door could nonetheless be armed by using a key fob.
It's about reasonable doubt. Now I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Let's assume that Tim Rader is a doctor. And someone goes to Dr. Rader, the ADT guy, and says, "Doctor, I have this pain in my back." The doctor does tests. He has you meet with other people. And the day comes and Dr. Rader calls you and says, "Come on in. I need to talk to you."
You know what? I won't even be. That's how I know y'all can't. Y'all like. No, never mind.
You have a cancer mass on your spine. If you don't have surgery, you're going to die. If you do have surgery, you could be paralyzed for the rest of your life. I think we'd all agree that that's a serious decision, much like deciding life in prison. And you say, "Doctor, thank you. I'm devastated by this. I'm going to get a second opinion." And you get all of Dr. Rader's tests and everything he did, and you take it to another doctor. The doctor says, "Let me get back to you. I'm going to review these." The doctor calls you back and says, "Sir or ma'am, I've looked through all these records, and there's at least 77 errors in those records. I've also found out that Dr. Rader failed to talk to anybody that you talked to about food poisoning."
I wonder, but did AJ ever say like which direction he see him running? Because also you would have heard a door close. So which door did you hear shut? You said you saw an individual.
Did you see him running towards the door that leads out to the garage? Since we bring in the garage don't always close all the way or don't.
But did you also hear? Because it looks like it's a townhome, right? If it's a townhome, there's no attached door to the garage. Because most townhomes, you got the garage. So did you hear the garage door go up? Because some houses, you have a door ajar with the garage. Some you don't. But some also has another door to the garage.
Yeah.
I'm saying an outside door to allow you to... So
I'm just talking about the door that's like inside the garage that'll lead into the house. I'm just talking about that door.
You talking about basically the door that allows you to go in and out of the garage. I'm saying if you you saw somebody running out of the house into the garage, does y'all garage have a door that lets you exit out of the garage into the outside, not into the house?
No, I get what you're saying. I got what you were saying, but I'm talking.
What I'm saying is, if you don't have that, only other way somebody could have got outside of the garage is by opening the garage door. If the garage door wasn't lifted, there was nobody who... This argument is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, but I'm just making a statement because they said that Kira said that the garage door don't always close all the way. It'd be faulty. So I'm wondering, the garage door, to the
interior of the house. Oh,
the garage door, like that's what I took.
That's not a specific. So now we need a specific indication. Are you talking about the garage actually?
The actual garage
opening, or we talking about the?
And I took it as the fact that we even bringing it up. I took it as that because I'm like, okay, that still doesn't prove anything, because how would they be able to access inside? Anyway, don't worry about it. Chad, I'm drained.
There's some notes in here that say you could have food poisoning. We need to look at it. They should ask the patient what he had to eat, what he or she had to drink. But Dr. Rader ignored that. And the second doctor says, look, I just think you had a case of food poisoning. And let me show you all the errors in his records. How many people in here would have that surgery? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Prosecutors, court staff, how many people in here would have that surgery?
I'm about to raise your hand for your punk ass.
Sergeant Dagnall didn't even raise his hand. He's sitting right there. Why would you not have that surgery? Because you have a reasonable doubt.
Prosecutor John Jordan argued that AJ had slipped up. At one point on the 911 call, in a barely audible segment played for the jury, AJ complains of a ringing in his ears.
And there's this amazing thing is if you fire a gun without ear protection, something happens to your ears. That wouldn't happen if you're in another room. The whole reason why we have ear protection is there's like a high pitch or a ringing that goes on in your ears. When the dispatcher asked him, do you hear any noises, what does AJ Armstrong say?
Okay, can you hear anything else that's going on?
It's not even like he's talking to her. He's whispering it slowly to himself. He's saying, it's high-pitched in my ears. This one statement is a confession. There's only one reason why you would have a high pitch in your ears is because you just fired a firearm inside of a home.
Also, he's low-key mumbler as well. It's all my fault, which is another confession.
The state also emphasized what they argued was a foolish and unbelievable story told by AJ. 5 full hours had passed before he told the HPD that he had seen a masked man in the house. On the 16-minute call to 911, he told the operator only that the door to his parents' room was opened a crack. He was telling a story, like one from a movie. All signs seemed to point to AJ as the killer, but just like a movie plot, there was an unlikely twist. It was the one-armed man that did it, argued the prosecution.
So now it's not a crack. Now he's going down the stairs and he sees someone coming, but it's more.
Wait, did you physically see somebody?
No, I saw him running. I saw him running.
Now he sees someone running. You would think during a 16-minute 911 call, if he really saw someone running, he would have said, ma'am, I saw someone running in my house. Please get here. My sister's down the hallway, wouldn't you? Wouldn't he have said, someone's here, please? My sister is down the hallway. I see him running that way. But he doesn't do that. But to homicide investigators, if you're the only one in the house, if you're the one that committed murder, you've got to invent somebody. We all know from movies, the one-armed man, that's what this is like.
In the first mistrial in 2019, the jury had deadlocked 8-4. 8 jurors voting to convict, and 4 believed AJ was not guilty.
Oh.
In November 2022, the jury deadlocked again.
Oh.
This time, the numbers were in the reverse, favoring the defense.
Dang.
It's time to free AJ. It's been 6 years, it's been 2 trials, it's been 40, 50 witnesses, it's been probably millions of dollars of expenses by the district attorney's office. It's time to let this young man go. We're absolutely ready.
You're prepared to do this again?
Yes, ma'am. I told you we'll never stop fighting for AJ.
Speaking to the media afterwards while maintaining their anonymity, a handful of jurors spoke about how difficult the deliberation had been inside the jury room.
When he said that he saw someone running down the stairs, it was clearly made up. It was dark. He said he was African American wearing a mask. Well, it was dark.
Oh, yes, it was dark. Yes, it was dark because they was able to, I guess, determine that he was using his phone light to be able to navigate through the home.
But you always paint the picture as the black.
So how would you know if it was a black person? How would you know kind of how tall they are? Because it's dark and they're running away downstairs at that.
Also, where were they running? Were they headed towards the garage or were they headed towards the front door? If they were headed towards the garage, so they opened the... And I need a specification. Was it the actual garage that wasn't opening, or was it the garage interior door that doesn't stay ajar? You get what I'm saying? If it's the interior door, if it's the interior door of the garage,
yeah.
That because sometimes people, so it might.
They didn't even get stuck on it. They just mentioned it, and I was just like.
But that's the part of the ADT.
Yeah.
That's the part of the ADT. That's the reason why I'm like, because if you say somebody said it at the front door, there's no way somebody ran out the front door and it's...
They'll be able to detect that, right?
Yes.
I feel like regardless of the fact if the system is faulty, that night at the minutes, it was working fine.
It was working perfectly fine.
Also, they running away. You see them running away, and they went and placed a gun on the counter next to the note that they wrote in the dark or whatever. But
and
they
had the indication of the note being written at what time? Because you normally write. Somebody was in the kitchen.
1:25.
So you commit the murders around 1:08 to 1:10. Now, 15 minutes later, you go down, you place the gun, you write the note. Writing the note, because he probably watched crime shows. They're going to be able to indicate my handwriting, so let me do it over multiple times.
And if you did change clothes, don't know that for sure.
They still give you a time.
You got a little time.
And you know how also wipe your DNA off.
Yeah.
But they're too fixated. His fingerprints are not on the gun. Yeah, my fingerprints are not on the gun because also blam blam blam. I possibly had gloves on, or I had something covering my hands.
Yeah.
And I had a silencer. I had a pillow and a sheet covering. That was in your closet. But I guess because it didn't have blood residue on it.
And if it truly was your brother, Josh, wouldn't you recognize his physique?
Again, I did hear everyone saying, we believe he did it, but we have doubt.
It's the doubt.
The state has made clear their intention to try AJ Armstrong for a third time. Jury selection is scheduled for the 24th of February, 2023, with opening statements and testimony expected to commence in later March. The judge in the trial filed an order to change venue, in part due to the scrutiny the case has received in Harris County and how this may impact the delivery of a fair, unbiased jury trial.
And that's true.
It's unclear how these pretrial proceedings may impact the timeline. But according to the state of Texas, Since July 2016, one fact has seemed certain. Antonio Armstrong Jr. is guilty of murdering his parents. 8 years later, they still need to prove it.
And that's the thing.
That was the story of Antonio Armstrong Jr. and the murder of his parents, Dawn and...
R.I.P. to them two, man.
R.I.P. to Dawn and Antonio.
Let me see if we got any updates on the case. Let's see. Hey, ooh.
He got married too?
Ooh, hey. Hold on. It's been... was convicted of killing his parents. His wife has filed for divorce. Court records indicate she filed paperwork in September.
The couple had been together since high school. Wow.
That's him right now.
Wow.
And that white.
Wow.
Whoa, you lying. After 7 years of investigation, prosecutors said they have finally found justice
for Antonio and Dawn Armstrong.
Damn.
So it was transferred to a different... I have to myself.
Armstrong was 16 at the time. Dawn and Armstrong were shot to death as they slept during. The younger Armstrong was sentenced to life in prison after being convicted of shooting them in the head. Woo. So he got 40 after 40 years. Just think about it. If he had just served those 8 years, that's already a good pointed to, man, boy.
I'm about to look into it. I just want to know, like...
Found guilty of first-degree murder.
I want to, know exactly what was the turning point. Because it's like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what I want to know. But, just doing a brief dive, my bad. Just doing a brief dive doesn't...
Yeah, because I don't want to, I have to, really read. I ain't trying to hold y'all up. But I just want to know. DNA analysis may have played in his capital murder conviction.
Ooh.
Leave it. Oh, you're about to go leave out of it. Don't worry about it. I wanted to read it, but anyway.
So he was eventually found guilty. That was the older video as well. So he was eventually found guilty of the murder, which is good because nobody else.
Nothing else made sense to me as far as someone being able to enter the home. It would have had to be someone in the home that night.
And you was trying to blame your brother?
Your defense team, yes, and the fact that you was going to sit in I'm like, look, I get it, but if I know say for instance, I know I did it right, but I'm not going to say for whatever. I'm definitely not about to let you put it on my brother or my sister. I'm not doing that.
But that's 9 times out of 10, his defense was that's the only thing we could do. It was all right, cool.
Well, at that point, then I just can't do that. I couldn't live with myself. I already done took my parents.
He could though.
He could.
Does he?
I can't even fathom myself.
Not even him. His little sister did too. She did too.
What?
Low-key was blaming the brother.
Oh yeah.
Her sister was too.
Yeah, she was going that route too, and I'm like,
that's fucked up.
But yeah.
R.I.P. to them, man.
R.I.P.
They did not deserve that. Man, they literally tried to provide the best for you.
And I get it. I get it when people are like, oh, I need a motive. Mm-hmm. Fuck the motive, because that was not nothing for you to be killing. What was because they want better? They want you to do better? They want you to do better in school? They want you to stop lying? Mm-hmm. Show some respect for the house? Mm-hmm. Stop smoking and doing missing curfew? Be for real. That ain't no reason. Y'all, man. Okay. All right.
Hey, man, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it for us in the comments section down below. Spoiler: K. Armstrong was found guilty of murdering his parents at his third trial, August 16th of 2023, sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. New DNA evidence helped sway his jury after the first two were hung.
These, oh, my
So-
bad. I about to say these two comments, what we said, so true. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the first two comments?
Yeah, it says, imagine locking up the house to keep out evil, not knowing that evil is already in the house.
And then the other one said, I don't know where my dad keeps his gun. 5 seconds
right.
later, I was showing the gun to my friend.
I was like, bro,
a few
you just
weeks ago.
said, I don't.
That's
Anyway.
what we said. That's what we said, man. A liar, pathological liar.
Again, rest in peace to Dawn and Antonio.
Sad, man.
Yeah.
Tragic. And much healing to, what's the older brother?
Josh.
He needs healing all the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But y'all spam us up in the comments. Let us know y'all thoughts about down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We out.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar.